The Lazarus Effect. It's a 2015 horror film that I just got back from a screening for. And this movie. The plot, it actually has a good plot. I will give the movie this. You see at the beginning this group of scientists or physicists, I don't know exactly what they are, but you meet Mark Duplass as Frank, Olivia Wilde as Zoe, Evan Peters, Donald Glover, and this new intern played by Sarah Bulger. And they're basically working on this experiment. It's been going on for a couple years now, where they're trying to, and I mean, they go through all of the words and terms that make it sound like they know what they're doing, so I'm just going to give them credit for it. I'm sure it sounds believable, so fine. But basically what they're doing is they're bringing the dead back to life. They have all of these electrons and they're sending these currents into the bloodstream and the brain waves, and it brings a dog back from the dead. And so from then they're like, holy crap, well, let's see if this is viable, if this is something. Until a crazy accident happens and Olivia Wilde dies. So then Mark Duplass, being desperate, uses this on her and brings her back. But she doesn't come back as herself. She's sort of this other thing. She's evil. So there you go. Now, what I thought of this movie, I don't know if it was obvious before, but I didn't really care for this movie. I didn't. My friend, who came with me to this screening, he hated it. He was very disappointed with what happened here. And I agree with him. I just don't have the same level of hatred. We agree that this movie had a pretty interesting setup, had a pretty interesting premise, where these people are working on this new breakthrough medicine, or who knows what it could do to the human body or to the brain, how it could heal certain aspects to the body. But not only that, it seems to be successfully bringing the dead back to life. It worked on the dog. Now, like I said, they take that, and then here's where the dumb stuff starts to come in, because they bring this dog back from the dead. Now, these are supposed to be intelligent, smart, educated people, right? I mean, if they successfully have done this, they should be pretty intelligent. But no, Mark Duplass, the first thing he wants to do with this fucking dog is to bring it back home with them. And just because. It's not even like he really wants to see how it is. He just wants to have the dog there. And I was sitting there like, hello, this is fucking weird. You don't know what's going to happen with this dog, what is going on in this dog's head now. It could have a crazy, aggressive reaction and kill you guys. There's even a silly moment where the dog is like walking on Olivia Munn's bed, hovering over her, watching her sleep. It's like, okay, that's creepy, but it could have been a lot worse. But then when you get to the point where she essentially dies and she gets brought back. I mean, I liked Olivia Wilde in this movie. I do. She's probably the only likable character here, because she did have at least some layers to her, and I understood where she was coming from in her relationship with Mark Duplass. Mark Duplass was just all about the work, the job, this experiment. This had to be done. He postponed their wedding. He wanted to get this done, and she was a little upset by that, but still going along with it. But then when she comes back as this being, I thought it could have been interesting, and they touch on this too. It's not like it wasn't here. I'm not creating this for the movie. They even say that now that all of this energy, this increased energy is flowing through her brain, and she can't really control it, it's allowing her to use 100% of her brain. And I know we've been down this route before, most recently with Lucy. That movie was all about, oh, we only use 10% of our brain. This movie even says, no, that's bullshit. We use all of our brain, we just use it in 10% doses, small doses. We never use all of our brain at the same time, which is true. So this movie's saying that Olivia Wilde can now use all of her brain at once. And so that's where she gets all of these powers from, and it's almost like telekinesis. And you're willing to kind of go with it, but you want to see what they do with it. It sounds interesting. But then the last half just becomes a straight up, flat out possession movie. It's paranormal activity, even though it does get crazy by the end. It's like a house of horrors in this area. I don't know. I could see more people liking it than I did. I don't hate this movie. I was even debating on if I should give this a rental because I did want to give it some credit for the acting, for the overall premise. I thought it was something new, different, original. But not only that, the screening started at 7 o'clock. And when the credits at the end showed up, it was 8:17. This movie is only an hour and 17 minutes long. You could look at that as, hey, this movie knows it's bullshit, so it was quick, it was painless, you get in, you get out, no harm, no foul. But fuck, if you're gonna go to a theater and pay for this, no, fuck that. This movie is some old bullshit. I'm sorry, I tried to give it credit, I tried to be into this movie. Hell, even Evan Peters is in this movie, and I like him a lot, but he did not help. Donald Glover, I didn't mention him, because there's a lot of talk and rumor about him possibly being the Miles Morales Spider-Man. I don't want to see that at all. But hey, this was my first time seeing him act, and again, he was fine, but there's nothing to these characters. You're not going to care about them. It's your typical February horror movie. What more could you expect? Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below if you're at all interested in checking out The Lazarus Effect. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!